Lunacy is not a form of personal or public degradation, for it is a level of the world of unknown politics. Everything's living in a conspired dream of control, a mass conformity, below the threshold of consciousness or apprehension, specifically involving or using stimuli that become effective subconsciously by repetition. The government knows this and uses it against you. We must be aware of the soundness of mind and judgment to see through the iron curtain in front of our eyes so we can question the truth.
Hey, so are we live? You're live, guys. All right. Seneca. Judas.
Ben, keep me for a second, I can't hear nothing. Yeah.
Judas.
Hey guys, Judas, and I guess our guys are having a little technical difficulties. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When as soon as Judas is ready, we'll go back live. Sorry about that, guys.
Rolling Hills Asylum. Located in East Bethany, New York, just minutes between two major airports, Rolling Hills Asylum is a hotbed of paranormal activity. They have been featured on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, as well as Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters. Rolling Hills Asylum has been named the #2 most haunted location in the United States by HauntedNorthAmerica.com. The property was established on January 1st, 1827, as the county poor farm. Throughout the years, it has operated as a poor farm, infirmary, orphanage, tuberculosis hospital, nursing home, and more. Past residents and inmates consist of widows, orphans, physically disabled, mentally unstable, murderers, and more. Over 1,700 bodies are buried in unmarked graves, and hundreds more deaths went undocumented. Rolling Hills Asylum is known for a plethora of phenomena, including disembodied voices, doors slamming, footsteps, sounds of furniture moving, full-body apparitions, shadow people, ghostly touches, and numerous Class A EVP. Rolling Hills Asylum proudly offers historical and flashlight tours, 4- and 8-hour public ghost hunts, 8- and 9-hour private ghost hunts, and more, by appointment or pre-booking only. For more information, please visit www.rollinghillsasylum.com. That's www.rollinghillsasylum.com. Or give them a call, 585-502-4066. That's 585-502-4066. Rolling Hills Asylum. What are you doing this weekend?
Lunacy is not a form of personal or public degradation, for it is a lover of the world of unknown politics. Everything's living in a conspired dream of control, a mass conformity, below the threshold of consciousness or apprehension, specifically involving or using stimuli that become effective subconsciously by repetition. The government knows this and uses it against you. We must be aware of the soundness of mind and judgment to see through the iron curtain in front of our eyes so we can question the truth.
Dreams Code Magazine is a proud sponsor of DTMWickedRadio.com. In Dream Codes Magazine, you can learn all about ghosts, orbs, sleep paralysis, and more. Go to www.dreamcodesmagazine.com to order a subscription and learn more. Dreams Code Magazine is a proud sponsor of DTMWickedRadio.com. In Dream Codes Magazine, you can learn all about ghosts, orbs, sleep paralysis, and more. Go to www.dreamcodesmagazine.com to order a subscription and learn more. The historical Fort William Henry Conference Center and Resort is a proud sponsor of DTM Wicked Radio. If you're looking for a relaxing getaway, the historical Fort William Henry Resort and Conference Center is your destination. Come enjoy the beautiful mountains, the gorgeous lake, and everything Lake George has to offer in upstate New York, right off the Adirondack Mountains. For reservations, you can go to www.fortwilliamhenry.com or call 1-800-234-0267. The Fort William Henry Resort and Conference Center is your destination for the perfect getaway. The historical Fort William Henry Conference Center and Resort is a proud sponsor of DTM Wicked Radio. If you're looking for a relaxing getaway, the historical Fort William Henry Resort and Conference Center is your destination. Come enjoy the beautiful mountains, the gorgeous lake, and everything.
And we'll go. Yeah.
And we're live.
All right, sorry about that. So total technical difficulties there. Got total cut feed. I don't know what the heck happened, but I guess the forces are working against us here in the show. Crowley, you there? Apparently Crowley's not in yet. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start a segment called The Truth in Socrates' Poison. And if you know the history of Socrates, which we're not going to go completely detailed into it, but solely before his death, Socrates spoke his last words to Crito. Crito, we own a rooster. We owe a rooster to Asclepius, and please don't forget to pay this debt. And Asclepius was actually the Greek god for curing illnesses, and it is likely Socrates' last words meant that death is the cure and freedom of the soul from the body, additionally of why Socrates died. Because he actually was forced to take poison in regards to his beliefs, and he could have chose to go against it to stay alive, but he didn't because he was very adamant on his beliefs, and so he chose to take the poison and die. And again,
yeah, because
hence
his
the power.
the leaders there were blind to see the truth in that.
Yes, they
Hey,
actually were.
I made it on the radio, bud. It took an act of Congress.
I'd like to introduce Crowley. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I guess it's never ever happened in the history of DTM Wicked Radio, you know. But hey, it was the first time for everything, and I guess it has to be here. But let's go ahead and start The Truth in Socrates' Poison that I'd like to continue from here on out. It's basically quoting philosophical quotes to educate and enlighten people of the matter that we're discussing, maybe even enlighten people in their belief system today. That's really the whole object of this, is to enhance conscious level, higher conscious levels, you know, of higher levels of consciousness, literally. And so now, here's one right here. It's the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. And once that belief comes to a deep conviction, things begin to happen. That was Muhammad Ali. Another one from William James. Belief creates the actual fact. And another good one from Albert Einstein is no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. What do you think of that, Crowley? Huh?
I love it. I love it. And I just pulled out, to talk back on Socrates, I pulled out of the Bible a quote also I'd like to throw in there. It's this is when the Pharisees didn't like what Jesus had to say. He said, let them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind leaders of the blind, if the blind leads the blind, both will fall into a ditch. I thought this was awesome reference, especially to the third eye on the dollar bill as being the one-eyed man is king in the blind world. You know, I just think that's just great to add in there. Anyway, let's continue.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, you throw something in there like that, you know, and and it shows another mystery and hidden beliefs that, you know, and a distant past of history that most people don't follow in today. And what we're going to do is we're going to start the show off with basically a few words. We don't really have much time. It's only an hour-long show, so we're going to do everything we can to basically wrap it all up. Few words is basically, I would like to start it off with the subconscious, subconsciousness, consciousness, perception, belief, and reality and truth. So I'm going to start it off with some definitions to be able to break it down really literally. And I'm not trying to go into a historical event here, but it's like, you know, words really describe the elements and everything behind everything that we do today. So the subconscious feelings, desires, etc. are hidden in your mind and affect your behavior, but you do not know that you have them. And subconsciousness, a state of mind not immediately available to consciousness. Now, consciousness and psychology, consciousness refers to our awareness of sensations, thoughts, and other eternal processes, as you might expect. And our experience of conscious is always changing as our thoughts and environment shift. For example, at the moment that you might be focused on reading a blog or listening right now, moments all of a sudden will shift your thoughts to a memory or a lecture or something that will enlighten you. Next, you might notice how uncomfortable your seat is or something, and you might rub your neck or something. This ever-shifting stream of thoughts can change dramatically from one moment to the next, but your experience of it seems smooth and effortless. Huh? Yeah. Now, consciousness, the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings. And so that's pretty significant. And what we were trying to do is basically, you know, you got a lot of people out there that don't really believe in certain things. And you got a lot of people that believe in God or they've seen ghosts and all these things. But really, belief kind of stems from an experience in your life, you know, for you to really, truly, generally have a heartfelt belief in it. And so the reason why I believe that these historical past members, and even up until today, really is significant is because a lot of people believe in certain things, and they're also putting other distractions and detours in our lives to maybe possibly believe in the wrong things. And if you look at the history of religion itself, it's ancient, it's being locked up and hidden from society. And then also in China, it's actually illegal to have a belief system. So, you know, that way
hold on.
Yeah.
Judas, we only got into consciousness. Now we're only aware of our consciousness. Now this perception, right, of being aware of being conscious.
That's right.
So what was the definition of perception?
Perception. Perception is a very powerful word because really it's the ability to hear, see, or become aware of something through your senses. So with perception...
So with my perception, becoming aware through my senses, I'm consciously aware of myself now. Now we go into, what
belief.
was it, belief? Belief.
Yes.
What is the definition of belief?
The definition of belief is an experience that a statement is true or false, trust, faith, or have confidence in someone or just something. And then so the next one would be reality, which is the world or state of things as they actually exist, or as opposed to an idealistic or notional idea of them, state or quality of having existence or something. So, and then you look at truth. Truth is most often used as
hold on. We haven't broken down belief and reality here, along with consciousness. So if I have a certain belief, right?
Yeah.
Then that not necessarily can be reality at the same time. But then again,
not necessarily at the same time right away.
Right away.
Right.
Maybe if more people believe in the same thing, it becomes a reality. But reality doesn't necessarily mean truth either.
You're right.
I have a belief that something is true, to be true, but my reality doesn't always reflect that that is true.
Exactly.
Right?
And basically what we're trying to discuss here is the evolution of thought. Is when that you start looking at how from the moment that we're born into life and you take these words that we're discussing and the real true meanings behind them and the power behind these words themselves, we are taught things subliminally to become subconscious, to affect us consciously. So then those things we become aware of, we believe in them. And then so our perception now is that through our senses and knowing these things, it must be right. And then that's where the belief comes in. And then that's where the true stem of the guidance of your life comes in, Like, let's take money, for instance, It's been enrooted in everybody from the moment that they were born that money is what we need to be happy, to have things, to guide us through life. And it's become so much of a significant thing that people would actually curse me or judge me for even saying these things. And they would be like, you know what, that is the way of life, and you just need to get it right. But that's the system of how we've been taught of things. And so when you start even questioning even things further, I mean, it just goes beyond of what else we've been introduced to life and what is possible and what is really not, right?
Yeah. So what did we have as, what was it next? It was truth?
There was reality, and so we were talking about how a belief can stem from a reality.
Or a reality can stem from a belief.
That's what I mean. That's
almost
what I mean.
Even a crazier thought in it and of itself.
It is.
All right, so we have
intense,
the power of a lie and the power of the truth, right?
Yeah, let me go ahead and scroll down, and I'll go ahead and discuss that. And so when you look at the power of lies and the power of truth, and because, you have to think of it, what do we mostly believe in? We're always looking for the truth, and half the time, you never know. You might accept a lie better than you will the truth, right?
Well, there could be comfort in a lie.
That's right.
So
when people hear a lie, they find comfort in it because
somebody pointed that out, then obviously I would be upset about it. So therefore there can be discomfort in truth also.
That's right.
Along with comfort in truth.
Yes. And so
that's exactly right. So
when people hear a lie, they find comfort in it because of the perception of truth within the lie itself. And so we'll replace truth with a lie acceptably, and rather than investigate the truth of the matter. And this kind of goes along with the senses of perception. If you can't pick up the senses of someone lying to you, then you have probably been lied to most of your life and don't even know it.
Yeah. I mean, at one time, people went around saying that the earth was flat. And this was perceived to be true to these people. And nobody wanted to go out and investigate it because they fall off. And this is what they believe.
That's right.
This is how they live their lives. This became reality to them. They lived every day
them at the time,
thinking that they could just fall off, or that the whole universe revolved around the earth, and all these different theories that nobody wanted to investigate. It became their realities. It wasn't until that truth, being what it is, that created the reality that we keep existing
by investigating science and God and theory and looking further into other planets and understanding that other things are around, I mean, obviously, we must be on a round planet too, I mean, I'm not really sure, and we'll go ahead and discuss that too. Who discovered that? But the general thing here is to get people to understand that what you believe in might not necessarily be. Let's say people don't believe in anything at all. That's really a big question. People sit there and turn around and they'll be like, I have a lot of conversations where nobody says that they believe in God, and that to me is well, then what do you believe in? And obviously the perception and beliefs through your conscious experience, but they're not obviously reaching through. You know what I'm saying? But also, I would like to not forget that thoughts are also experiences.
And thoughts are tangible things.
That's right.
So a thought is an experience, and if we go in the definitions here, can also become a reality. In and of itself, a reality, maybe not a reality in real physical existence, but anything that was created into reality first was a thought, that it could be created in the first place.
That's right. Like, let's say flying, for instance. A lot of people would be like, dude, that's totally impossible. You're never going to fly. You're crazy. And he's absolutely right. There's no way any of these people that are listening right now are going to be able to walk out a window and fly away. But through a device and through certain capabilities, you will be able to have the experience to fly. You know what I'm saying? And flying was something that was controversial back in the day. What's that?
And I think that people in time will be able to push the limits of what they believe to be reality in the first place. This is always happening.
And people, exactly. And look at like Einstein's theory of relativity. One subconscious thought fed a conscious thought, which in return created a belief, which stemmed a reality, which was no fact. You know, he had no fact to back up his theory. You know, which maybe there really was something deeper and underlying within his theory, and we just have not been tried. We have not even tried, let alone even figured it out. You know, and that tells me
it's unproven. It's a theory of relativity. You know, and we base all our scientific fact on a theory of relativity.
Yeah.
Like Einstein had great ideas, and we keep pushing forward with these ideas. And
but no one's making anything like a more evolutionary idea off that one that stems anything greater. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, of course they use it information.
They made the, what is it, the Higgs, the particle smasher there, you know? So they're out there smashing particles and finding smaller particles using basically Einstein's equations and stuff. So, I mean, this thought, this idea that's unproven is leading science into crazy new directions. Is this just not stem from our own reality that we're making in our own minds?
I love it. Exactly. Exactly. Because if you sit there and think about it, you know, from one person in the existence of our life has created something that still has baffled and taught scientists till this day. And so, you know, when somebody sits there and says, hey, you know, I've seen a ghost, and people will be like, you know, well, I don't really believe in ghosts. Or somebody comes to you and says, you know, hey, I believe in Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit, you know, and they're like, well, I don't really believe in Jesus Christ, you know, but, you know, and I'm
maybe they didn't have the experiences necessary to have a belief in something. As we've gone over the definitions here.
Stirred away from other things, and that's when you start going into the semantics of the society that we live in, you know. Maybe we're not allowed to have that kind of time to do these things. When you look at the ziggurats, you know, back in Iraq, we took over those during the Gulf War with Bush Sr. And those are the first scriptures of our religion and where it first began. But nobody's allowed to see that stuff, and that's in governmental hands. And so, you know, what are they trying to hide? And why do they try to wipe everything from us and all these knowledges to be able to make us believe in symbols and things around us and have a sense of idolatry, or to believe in the world or even in oneself rather than something higher than themselves, to a higher consciousness, to a higher belief and perception, to add to maybe another product of history in our life to be able to make something, you know, better or you know, inventive in society that will excel. You know, maybe all this technology really isn't the way. It's very useful, but maybe it's really not the way. You know, there's all these other things that I know that people feel within. I mean, I know I feel it, and I think that we fill these gaps in our life with other things, but maybe that's, you know, obviously not the way to do things, because I still feel empty.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But.
Yeah, you know, they've been doing this. They've been doing this forever, though. It's trying to suppress the mental. I mean, if you look at the term government, as, like you said, the definition is to govern the mind.
Yeah, govern means control, and mental means the mind. So we have a government trying to control the mind.
Information, controlling our thought, to govern our minds in a certain direction. and this is where
this
the
all
natural rebellion would
Let's look
take
at the
place.
belief of 9/11, okay? People look at 9/11 as if it was a war on terror or a war on lies, or did it even, why did it happen and who really did it? And so doesn't that make people question or at least want to know the truth? And what do people believe in? Do they believe in the television screen that's telling them the same stuff over and over and over again? Or are they going to go ahead and believe maybe a conspiracy theorist that's now marked as a blacklisted terrorist? Let's get down to the... And I definitely suggest everybody does the
a crazier part of this whole
research.
thing, the crazier part of the whole thing is you got these people, so-called, living in caves with pitchforks and torches that masterminded this crazy scheme that they're going to go after our government, and not just the government, it's like big business. I mean, the people that they bombed were from big businesses. I mean, it's like literally these people were fired. You don't recognize that I think maybe even a hostile government takeover. You know what I mean? And
I believe that's exactly what it was. It was a very, maybe
I'm
we
just
should
throwing it out there.
Hush, hush.
That this is like, don't talk about that.
Yeah,
the people
don't talk
that really
about
died
that stuff. Oh,
at
God,
9/11
now.
were prominent
but look,
business
ever
people.
since then, ever since these presidents have taken office, you see more and more crazy shootings or different things. And maybe they weren't setups, and maybe they were. But I tell you what, it's one heck of a conspiracy. And I tell you
Either
another thing
way,
is this, too.
it's not getting better. I was promised
It's
better.
not. In fact, it's getting 100% worse. And I believe that even the belief,
worse.
let's talk about another thing, Look at 4 out of 10 people believe that we're in our end times. 4 out of 10 people. And actually, I'm going to do some more research on stuff. I'm going to create another thing, too, on top of the truth in Socrates' poison. And we're also going to talk about end-time stuff, like earthquakes that happen all the time that people don't know about. The Fukushima meltdown and how it's continuously...
Let's talk about this Fukushima stuff first.
Okay,
Let's throw this right out there. So Fukushima... So this earthquake happens, right? And a tsunami comes in or something like that and takes out Fukushima.
100-foot wave crashes, wipes out a whole entire city.
Crazy. On the news for weeks, right?
Unbelievable.
Or at least a couple of days, anyway.
I'd say it was a good month, because it was pretty big.
Yeah.
It was pretty big back then.
They're saying this is a catastrophic meltdown. And it took them like months to
all
build
of a sudden,
this like robotic
vanishes,
thing
and the mystery
to go
from the
in there
news,
and try
all
to
they talk about
up.
is like Miley Cyrus twerking or something else. You know what I'm saying? And so, listen, if you sit there and think about all the things that are going on and the life that we're led to, all right, well, let's keep going and thinking about Fukushima. So Fukushima basically is leaking 300 metric tons of nuclear waste into our oceans every day. I actually had a conversation at a Chinese food restaurant because, I was like, I don't know. I just had to blur up a conversation. So I was just basically like, hey, are you from Japan? And she's like, no, we're from China. And I'm like, oh, well, what do you think about that Fukushima meltdown over there in Japan? She's like, I don't know nothing about Japan, And excuse me of the accent, but it's like, that's pretty much the way that I saw it. And then so she starts going off, and I was just like, well, you know that it's like leaking a bunch of fluid into our, nuclear waste into our oceans, and you're serving sushi and fish and all this other good stuff, and she's all like, oh, well, that our oceans are separate, right? And I'm like, oh, my God, like, okay, so this girl looked like she was about 60 years old, so I'm wondering to myself, like, who's been teaching this girl? And I'm not trying to judge anybody in any way. The point of the situation is to look at it and be like, man, if this is what you don't know and what you really perceive in life, then how far down the rabbit hole of misconception and misinterpretation of the world around us that leads into these specific beliefs and just, totally disacknowledgement of the world around you. And to not even care.
This is a great thing about America is that we have access to just tremendous amounts of information. You can just go online and you can just look up everything that we just said, and it's not like it's just crazy.
It's a big mystery.
It's really happening. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, truth is stranger than
fiction. Truth is stranger than fiction. Okay? And that's the whole idea.
So,
and I mean, like,
so they're going to go into
the purpose of the show, honestly, and anybody that's really listening, I hate to cut you off. What's that?
Yeah. Well, they're going to go into Fukushima, and they're going to install these freezers to freeze it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is their plan, is to freeze it. I mean, I don't a power plant now has to produce power to freeze itself. It just, I don't know. It just,
I don't know neither.
I'm just
it
throwing
doesn't
that
make any
out
sense
as
to
an
me.
idea.
And
so,
you're absolutely right.
So we can go into outer space, and we can wear these suits in outer space, and we have this technology to go out and deal with the thick radiation of the sun and all this other stuff, and yet we don't have the technology to go into Fukushima and just, like, take a mop and clean this up.
No.
It just baffles me sometimes.
It does.
Like,
and so what do we really believe? Have we ever been in space?
And have we ever been in space? Can we go to space?
Maybe we've been in space in a spaceship and never really actually got to step outside.
Obviously, we can't go into Fukushima. You know, I mean, this is just out of the question. You know,
I can Photoshop
roll.
one hell of a picture, I tell you. Like a pro.
So what else? What else we got?
Okay, so I was also going into, like, basically when you look at belief and the power structure of our lives, and this is the structure that we go by daily, all right, that we believe is necessary in our life today. Working, money, responsibilities, the things that consume us without questioning, bring up, I'm going to talk about my grandmother right here, like, you know, basically in my life, you know, I missed out on my last times with her because of money, not having enough money, and I was supposed to go see her. So basically, because of the structure that we live in of money and being able to travel and being able to get around to my loved ones and this way that we live, I was not able to be able to see my grandmother and enjoy her last dying times on earth, which I mean, like, hey, you know, I'm not like, you know, booing and hooing over the situation, but again, it just goes to show how the belief structures of our life really do affect us, and we really don't acknowledge how the structure itself is really affecting us, not the fact of a lack of money. I mean, look what money does to people. Let's talk about money real quick. I think money's a good one because it's got many hidden symbols on it.
You know that story that you just had? That is the exact same story that I have about my grandmother. Same story. I had to go and make the dollar, and I couldn't go to her funeral. You know what?
And it's crushing, isn't it? When you sit there and look at that.
And it made me hate that day at work. And yet it's not like I could go and I'm going to communicate with the people at work that my grandmother died and I'm still here working when some other girl calls on the phone and says my grandmother died and she's out there partying. You know, I needed the money, so I had to give this up to take the money. It was terrible. Terrible stuff.
And think about how it affects many people in other ways, and they don't even realize it. You know, you'll sit there, and money can cause relationships to break up. You know, the belief in the dollar
itself. It's like the number one cause of divorce.
It is, you know, and so, you know, and so we sit there, and belief itself gives power to these things around us, okay? So if somebody believes in aliens, it's because they've had an experience of it to be able to really, truly relate to it. And so for one to sit there and look at another person's beliefs and cast them down and think that theirs are higher than theirs, well, then they're ignorant to the world around them because of the experiences that they're not living themselves. And there's ancient religions.
Let's throw this out there for a second. So we only use about what? I don't know the actual numbers, but it's like 7 or 14% or some low number anyway about how much brain power we use while we're in a conscious state of awakeness, right?
Yeah.
But when we fall asleep, we use all sorts of different regions of our brain. Our brain goes haywire, basically, while we're asleep. And then we have subconscious dreams and different things happen, right, while we're asleep?
Yeah.
So what's to say that this reality, while I'm consciously awake and not really using my brain, is really the reality that is actual existence and not the subconscious reality that is existing there? What is this? I don't even know. I cannot even perceive it because I cannot consciously be there and consciously be here at the same time.
Exactly.
So therefore, I can't even put into words what happens to me. Is that any less of a reality in the reality's definition than reality right now?
I would say definitely not because, hey, I think it's a good thing to bring up because when you start looking at just the experience of sleep alone, it's not like you died for a second there or took off somewhere. You know, you're alive experiencing this. And so, let's say you're dreaming about aliens. Let's say you're dreaming about ghosts. Let's say you're dreaming about werewolves or particular things. Let's say maybe that was a little...
Well, I'm just saying that through belief, maybe a manifestation can happen where aliens or ghosts or different things actually manifest into a reality, because what's to say that this reality is any different than the reality I'm living right now?
Exactly.
I've been to places...
That's why we're living...
Actually,
that's why I say we're living in
you.
a mirrored image of our own creations in mind.
See,
and so,
the thing is, I've had a personal experience, so therefore I can relate this to some sort of a reality. I mean,
absolutely.
I wasn't going to sit around and investigate it, but I went there. I was with you, Bud.
Yeah, I know. That was an incredible time.
We went into this trailer, and you said, "Hey, come here. I hear some voices, man." I'm like, "What?"
Yep.
So I go in there, and I'm like investigating.
And it was the most darkest feeling in the world.
It was a feeling. It was like I entered some other kind of place that was not. It was in this world, obviously. I mean, I walked there.
Yep.
But I entered.
We were there. We were
like
writing a song
a different
together,
kind of atmosphere.
and we walked into this
itself.
place. And we could not even fully bring ourselves to fully walk in there. And then we ended up driving to my father's house, and it so much influenced us of the experience that there was definitely a haunted house. I mean, that was a bad house. And we went there, and we told my father about it, and he said, "Oh, that's a place where his son had a bad day from school, so the father shot his son and daughter there." And so it was
and shot himself.
And shot himself.
I'm pretty sure
and
it was
committed
suicide, too.
And
it was a bad place.
I mean, I couldn't even go in there. That's how dark this place was, And so, again, I can explain that to somebody, and they might not be able to sit there and be like, hey, I 100% relate, or I can understand what you're talking about, and then some people will take it into mind, and you have to understand some people will actually listen to you, and within the first 5 minutes of a conversation, they'll just all of a sudden go blah, and they'll just blank out, especially if they can't really comprehend what you're saying, and because of the experience, and because of the belief of what I'm trying to convey, you obviously are not really entangled in it because you just haven't gone through it. Like, there's been many times I've sat there when I was a child, and I remember my grandfather always looking at me and saying, "Hey, always try to learn from what I have to tell you, because if I could know what I know now 20 years ago, I would be way more advanced and sophisticated and more humble in life than I am now. And why don't you take off from my experiences and just start off on chapter 20 rather than 1 and do all the same stupid stuff that I did?" And so that's, again, it kind of goes along with history and all the things that go along with, the Bible and religion and philosophers and the teachers and the magic and the magicians of our life, because magic, let's talk about magic. Magic is actually solely derived off belief itself. And they say that the power of belief is in the eye of the beholder. So magic is also known as the force, and it's also the tools and weapons of enlightenment. And I'm going to go ahead in a little description here that I have of idolatry, and I think it's very important of how people can hear this. And there's our archives. We're actually, closing in on time, so I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. But idolatry is a term for the worship of an idol or a physical object, such as a cult image or a god, and or practices believed to verge on worship, such as giving honor and regard to created forms. In all the Abrahamic religions, idolatry is strongly forbidden, although views as what constitutes idolatry may differ within and between them. In other religions, the use of cult images is accepted, which images, ideas, and objects constitute idolatry is often a matter of considerable contention. And so behavior considered idolatrous or potentially idolatrous may include the creation of any type of image of the deity, which is also known as a god. Okay, so of other figures of religious significance, such as prophets, saints, and clergy, and the creation of images of any person or animal at all, and the use of religious symbols or secular ones. In addition, theologians have extended the concept to include giving undue importance to other aspects of religion or non-religious aspects of life in general, with no involvement of images specifically. For example, catechism, the Catholic Churches states idolatry not only refers to false pagan worship, man commits idolatry whenever he honors and reveres a creature in place of God. And whether this be gods or demons, for example, Satan,
or image,
power, pleasure, it's in everything. Race, ancestors, the state,
we take the
money.
dollar, and we idolize the dollar above things.
All the time.
You know,
and
like
so when
what
you
we were
sit there,
saying.
Yep.
I gave up my funeral with my grandmother to go and basically worship the
my
dollar.
friend, he just recently passed away, and because he recently took his own life again, and like, you know, unfortunately, it is a selfish act, but you know, ultimately that's the choice that he felt that he had to make, and really that's not what I look towards to. I look for the sadness that he's gone, and I don't ever get to see him again, and I couldn't go to his funeral because of money, you know, and so because of this aspect, and look at what money does to people. If you don't have enough of it, then you basically don't respect people. If you don't have a job, you don't want to respect people. You look down at people. You don't even want to share your money. Money has become the root to all evil. And people, with knowing that, don't really even care. And maybe it's the unintellectualism that they have towards it, the lack of knowledge towards the subject itself. Maybe this will be able to help people out in the long run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What was that Egyptian symbol that was used for money? What was that representing again?
Yeah, it was actually Spurge. Yeah, you know what? See, now you ask. I mean, like, you know, I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, wasn't it to put in basically to
and for punishment? Hold on a second. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Punishment.
Yeah,
that's right.
Scourge for punishment.
Right.
The money symbol is what they only use here in America, found in the pyramids, and in that book, Atlas Shrugged. Yeah, so it actually means to hold on, where did it go? So, yep, I wrote it there, but apparently I didn't write down what it really means there. So I ended up finding it somewhere else. Where did I? Okay, nope. Well, apparently that'll have to be another time for a show for maybe symbols. Maybe we'll talk about symbols some other time and the significance behind them, you know. And then that way maybe, you know, hey, I'm not trying to deter people from living life comfortably. The thing is that, again, how do you know you're not living in illusion? Every day we're staring at a television screen displaying the same stuff that we see around us. And if you look at the government and the things that they're doing, it's beyond one's own fathomization and understanding in life. They got military robots. They're trying to read people's thoughts. They got these new things called terror scanners, and they're using them here, terror safe scanners. Okay, so they have these new things for terrorists, and they're using them on American citizens. So this just goes to show, how did a war on terror and people in the caves turn all of a sudden?
We're the terrorists, bud. I'm a mental terrorist.
We're going down. Got the thought police. Better watch out. Don't drink that fluoride. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to go into a quick break right here. It's been wonderful, and we'll be right with you in about 3 minutes, okay? Please stay tuned, and thank you very much. Hello?
Rolling Hills Asylum. Located in East Bethany, New York, just minutes between two major airports, Rolling Hills Asylum is a hotbed of paranormal activity. They have been featured on Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Challenge, as well as Sci-Fi Channel's Ghost Hunters. Rolling Hills Asylum has been named the #2 most haunted location in the United States by HauntedNorthAmerica.com. The property was established on January 1st, 1827, as the county poor farm. Throughout the years, it has operated as a poor farm, infirmary, orphanage, tuberculosis hospital, nursing home, and more. Past residents and inmates consist of widows, orphans, physically disabled, mentally unstable, murderers, and more. Over 1,700 bodies are buried in unmarked graves, and hundreds more deaths went undocumented. Rolling Hills Asylum is known for a plethora of phenomena, including disembodied voices, doors slamming, footsteps, sounds of furniture moving, full-body apparitions, shadow people, ghostly touches, and numerous Class A EVP. Rolling Hills Asylum proudly offers historical and flashlight tours, 4- and 8-hour public ghost hunts, 8- and 9-hour private ghost hunts, and more, by appointment or pre-booking only. For more information, please visit www.rollinghillsasylum.com. That's www.rollinghillsasylum.com. Or give them a call, 585-502-4066. That's 585-502-4066. Rolling Hills Asylum. What are you doing this weekend?
Hello?
Hey, so we're live? Nice. Well, all right.
How's it looking? Are we live right now?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we're live.
So,
okay. All right. Well, it's been a great show. We've got 10 minutes left. I wanted to definitely go into basically, I guess the last stuff that we can do is start talking about I would like to talk about the first religions that were born. Specific beliefs and religions were stemmed from shamans and individuals like that. And when you start looking at their belief systems, it actually evolved into where people believed that based off your comprehension level and how you really can comprehend specific things will be able to help your belief system, so therefore that will be your religion.
Further levels of consciousness, my friend.
Further levels of consciousness.
First you start off as a tribe, and then one of the people from the tribe becomes consciously or enlightened to a higher level of consciousness. Now he becomes a healer or a medicine man. He brings the answers to the rest of the tribemen. The tribemen have problems and things like this. They go to the shaman and they say, hey, we got to do something. And he's like, well, let me use maybe some hallucinogenic drugs and I'll try to figure this out.
And that's actually what they did. Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Because they've actually found out that, we'll talk about, the scientists are actually trying to make a pill out of psilocybin to relieve people of post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTS or PDD, whatever it is, and also depression and drug addiction. And they're also trying to control it in doses and how it affects people, because psilocybin actually corresponds with the natural brain function. So those discoveries have been made, and so these actually have been known in spiritual cultures to link to the subconscious mind. And so it's actually kind of an amazing thing that they're trying to do this to me, because, I'm not saying live that I've ever done it, but I will say that, through my knowledges and research in life, I have been enlightened to the fact that it does lead to the subconscious mind. And I would like to go ahead.
There's another story that talks about how civilization was founded. See, the ancient man followed the caribou trail. I guess this is the story, right? Ancient man followed the caribou trail to hunt them down. Well, the mushrooms grew on the caribou feces, basically, and so they were starving out there because they're trying to hunt these caribou down, so they ate the mushrooms. So now they're all psychedelically out there talking amongst each other, right? And they're like, dude, why don't we just stay here and wait for the caribou to come back? And then bang, they built a hut. They started growing stuff. The caribou came back like it does every friggin' year, and they hunted it down, and society was born.
That's amazing.
This is the story behind it.
Hey, we got 5 minutes left. I want to thank Denny Gager. I want to thank also Christopher George and Vic Furman. They're the actual show that's right after us. I mean, seeing how Breaking Bad's already gone, and there's really no other greater show on television. I guess radio is the new television these days. And back in the day, actually, radio is what people listened to before there even was television. So I think that this is becoming the new alternative media view solution for people to become enlightened in the world. But I want to thank those guys. Their next show show is called The Flip Show. It's where two listeners actually go in and interview them. It's where the tables are turned. It's going to be a very interesting show. I'm actually going to tune in right afterwards and definitely get into the mix because it just definitely sounds pretty cool. But, everything's been really great. And, if you like the show, please tune in. Go ahead. We got a Facebook site, which is facebook.com/ all capital letters, Subliminal Sanity, okay? And also me and Crowley, we have a Facebook profile for the page. It's called Judas Crowley because they wouldn't let me put an "and" in there. So that's fine. And if you go ahead and like us, you might as well like the page. And, we're definitely going to keep this going. And so it's been a great night, guys, and I really hope that you enjoyed the show. Please, let us know. Give us some feedback on the page. We're more than happy. And if you would like to ask us some personal questions, we'd be more than happy to ask them.
Questions.
Yeah, question everything. That's something that you need to teach your kids. If you got them, do everything that you possibly can, okay? And I'm so thankful for everybody that supported the show so far. Just understand that belief is not the only thing that we're going to discuss here. This is just a foundation to your third eye opening within your mind. Next week's show, it's going to be called, it's going to be discussing, hold on a second, let me go ahead and look at my notes real quick. Sorry. And the show, it was going to be about the how psychedelics link to the subconscious mind. Yes, psychedelics and how it links to the subconscious world of the mind. That's next week's episode.
Yeah.
I hope to see you here.
If they let us
definitely. Yeah, if they let us do it, I think they will. We're not going to promote doing it. Mostly, if you understand these things and the historical facts, everything around you is a tool, and most of the time, it's used against someone or even you. Now, we're going to take this off with the song Subliminal Sanity itself. We hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Judas.
And I'm Crowley.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for our first night of the wonderful topic of belief. We still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
We still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. We still there? Yeah, I'm still here. Oh, okay. We still there? Subliminal sanity. Subliminal sanity.
Oh, man.
I know, right? It just keeps saying it. Oh, we're having a blast. I tell you. Oh, we're having a blast. I tell you. Oh, God. I gotta stop that. Hey.
Oh, shit.
I think we still have a minute left. All right, well, please tune into Second Sight NYC, okay? Christopher George, Vic Furman, check them out. UFO Paranormal Network, okay? UFO Paranormal Network, all right? Check them out. They got a chat room and everything. They're really excellent. These guys are awesome, and I'm telling you, you really will enjoy them. They're wonderful guys. Please, thank you again for tuning in, and I hope you all have a beautiful night. You still still there, Ken?
Yeah, I'm still here. I guess we're terrible at this radio thing.
Yeah, well, we'll get better in time.
I guess.
It's 8 p.m.
Next time.
now.